Hi there, it's Lori, and I am working on this pattern here, and I had to learn 2 new stitches. That's an Etsy paid for pattern, that's why I kind of did it quickly. Both of these require a foundation, or sorry, half double crochet row below them, or at least one half double crochet row. So I'm going to just do, the multiple does not matter. Again, I chain 1 and hold that open, and then I'm going to yarn over, go through, and I'm going to just do these kind of quickly, but I will do this first one. Yarn over, pull through, just 1 to create your chain, pinch it, yarn over, pull through 3. Now I'm going to do 10 of these. So again, we go under the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, create your chain and pinch it, yarn over, pull through all 3. This is just a regular half double crochet foundation. I'm hoping this yarn was the right choice. If not, it will change. Let's do a couple more. This random yarn, I cannot tell you what it is. I can tell you it came from another yarn Shannon. It was one of her scraps. You can see it goes to black in the middle. I'm using the green for something else, so this is going to get frogged as soon as I finish this, because I need this yarn. And what I'm making with it, I freaking love. Okay, let's do, I'm going to do 8, just for the fun of it. Because 8 on its side is infinite, right? Alright. Silly math joke. Again, I was a math teacher for over 20 years, for those of you who did not know that. Alright. So then I'm going to go ahead and, chain 1. I don't normally chain 1, but I think it's going to hold the stitches a little better. The first one we're going to do is the top of the stitch is right here, this V. Right? It's called the 2 front loops half double crochet. I do not know if it has another name. So we're not going to do that loop. We're going to do this loop and this loop right here. So these 2 loops. So we're going to yarn over and go through those 2 loops, leaving that back loop. Yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay. So we'll do it again, yarn over, we go into the middle of the V, and we don't come out. That would be a front loop only. We want to grab both front loops. So this, which sounds like Fruit Loops to me all of a sudden, I don't know, now I want Fruit Loops. Alright, yarn over, pull through all 3. Alright, next one, just to make sure we have this stitch. Okay, I'm kind of readjusting that stitch so I can see where that front loop is. Yarn over, go in the middle of the V, don't go out here, go underneath this one too. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Alright, I need a little more yarn. Alright, yarn over, go in the middle of the V. Don't go there, that's the front loop only. We want both front loops. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, in between the V, grab both of those front loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you can see it almost gives a little different texture, almost looks like a post stitch. So this was a fun one for me to learn, and it's not that hard. Okay, this V is a little bit fuzzy, but there's the V. Grab both those loops in front, yarn over, pull through, go in the V, in between the V, grab those 2 loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, in between. Oh, this one's harder to see. Hold on, let me pull this stitch. Okay, so if you're having trouble seeing, oh, notice I'm using, this is probably a 5-weight yarn, because it just seems, it might be a 4-weight, but it seems kind of thick. I'm using an 8mm. That's way bigger than you would normally use with this particular yarn, but it's easier to see the stitches that way. But if you're having trouble finding that front loop, just kind of yank the stitch, go through the middle of the V, That way you can see that third loop. It was kind of hiding from me, or the front. It's the third loop, but we're going through it in the front. Yarn over, pull through those two, yarn over, pull through all three. Okay, now let me count my stitches. I think I'm done, but I have to double check. Yep, we've got 8. Okay, so that was front 2 loops. And again, you can kind of see what I was saying, how it almost makes them pop out like a post stitch in a way, but definitely different than a front loop, which would create a ridge. So it's a really cool stitch. All right, we're going to learn a second stitch that I had to learn for this. Now, Ladybird Loves, when I mentioned this stitch, said, oh, people are going to hate that like they hate the waistcoat stitch. But if you're using a big enough hook, and it's a half double crochet, so I don't know that they're as tight as single crochets. She was concerned that it would be like the waistcoat stitch. So we're yarning over, going underneath, yarn over, pull up a loop. Oh, I forgot to tell you what this is called. I did chain 1. This is called the wide half double. And I don't know, it's a weird name to me, because to me it's actually getting pushed in and it's narrower because it's between the posts. But maybe it's because it makes this wide. Let's look and see what it looks like. Yarn over. So I did a chain 1. A lot of people do chain 2 for half double crochets, but because I'm coming down here, I feel like that's chain 1 is definitely right. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and we're going to go between these posts. That's what she said. And then yarn over, go between. So we're going under all 3 of those loops between the posts down here. Let me turn it this way. Let's see if it's easier to see. In between here, between the posts. This is way easy, but again, I do have loose tension, and boy, that makes it gappy, doesn't it? Opposite of like a waistcoat. I feel like a waistcoat is really a tight stitch. All right, yarn over. We'll put it through that. Again, if you don't see the posts, you can pull it apart, and then it's very obvious where the posts are. Again, I understand I'm using a huge hook, so it makes the stitches bigger. And then when we finish this row, we're going to talk about why would this be called the wide half double. And one last. This one can be really hard to see. I'm going to double check and count. So nope, there's another one. Ah, yes, she did warn about this. Okay, let me do this. Gotta pull this apart. Okay, in between here. So I'm glad I counted my stitches. So here, you have to really dig for this one. So we need to make sure we get this last one. So it's between those 2 posts. See how the V is there? So it's down here. There's my 8th stitch. Let's look at this. And I'm going to chain 1 just to kind of close it off a little bit. Okay. So we're on the back side. That's interesting. So the 2 front loops did create a ridge on the back. Why would this be called the wide? It's got to be because it pushes it out wider. Look at how much wider that row is than these other 2 rows. Even if I pull it a little bit, it's just naturally wider. So it must be because it pushes the stitches out wide. With this stitch, again, really watch that last, whatever I'm trying to say. The last stitch. Count your stitches. I only had 8, so that would be, that was easy, but it was very easy. Let's do it again. Let's see if it's easier when it's already been a wide. Okay, so again, you yarn, well, I already chained 1, yarn over, go under all 3 of those between the posts. Okay, helps if I actually am successful with it. All right, there we go. I will link the incredible Etsy pattern that I'm using. That again, I got to learn stitches that I did not know. And again, down here, not under the V like normal. Go all the way down here. All right. So I want to see what it looks like on the second row. I don't know. I'm going to have to look at the pattern real quick. I don't know if the wides are stacked on top of each other. I think this one is actually easier to see. I'm going to count. So yeah, again, it's in between here, so it's all squished together. So pull that apart, then you can see the V and the third loop. Yarn over, go underneath in between the posts, yarn over, pull through. Let's see what 2 rows of that look like. Ooh, definitely pushing it wide. Look at that. And my tension's actually pretty consistent today. Not always the case. But anyway, that's the wide. Let's do another row of the first one we did. I'll see how much it pulls it back in. Just curious. All right. Again, the biggest thing with the wide half double crochet is making sure you catch that last stitch, because for it, like you can see it here, it pushes together, and that post separation is not as easy to see. So I'm gonna pull that apart, even though we're gonna do the front 2 loops on this row, just to see. I'm on the back side, so that'll be interesting. So we'll end up with a line on the front side. That's right. All right, yarn over. I did a chain. Yarn over, go through the front 2 loops. So in between the V, and grab both of those front loops. Not the fruit loops. All right. I'm doing this kind of quick. Again, it's those front 2 loops. Let's see how this looks. Alright. And I'm turning my work sideways because on this stitch it especially makes it easier. My foundations, I always kind of go vertical, but usually when I'm doing a row, I go horizontal. For this stitch, it's a little easier for me to see that other front loop on the side, like kind of going vertical. All right, yarn over in between the V, down through those 2, up, over, through here. Okay, this last one, it's tricky to see. So there's the V. I need to go between the V, grab those 2, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so let's see what that did. Yeah, see, you can see it pulling it back in. Now I'm understanding why it's called the wide. Look at that, how much wider that was. And again, my tension's pretty consistent today. Can't say that it always is, but let's see what it did to the front. See, it gave it that ridge on the front. I'm gonna look at this pattern really quick. This is the back panel to a cardigan. Yeah, they do a whole stack. That's interesting. Whole stacks of wide. That's fascinating. This pattern is really good. I will link it. It comes when I printed it out, not realizing that I was like, why is it 6 pages? It's really only 2 pages, but she gives you 3 sizes, so you don't have to figure out anything. I'm going with the largest size, which is pretty large. But I'm not seeing stacks of 2 front loops. I'm only seeing stacks of wides. Interesting. Anyway, again, I know you can't really see that, but this is why I had to learn these stitches, and I thought I would share that with you. But you do need your half double crochet in order to, right? You can't do a front loop. You can't go between the posts on a half double crochet unless you already have half double crochets. That's why we did basic half double crochet foundation. But that's so fascinating with the wide, how it pushes it out wide. The stitch isn't wide, but because you're going between the posts, it pushes it out. And the front 2 loops creates a ridge on the back side or the opposite side that you do it on, because we did it on this side. We were working this way. But there you go. Oh, I'm on the back side. Well, the ridge is going to be on the opposite side of where you were working. So it'll be interesting to see when I'm working on this. Let me see. She has arrows. So yeah, it's definitely going to create some ridges, because you're stacking those wides. Oh wait, no, I'm talking about the 2 front loops. 2 front loops is that way. So I think it's creating the ridge on the front, is why she used that stitch. Anyway, this is interesting, and I hope you learned something. I certainly did. And thanks all for coming in, and I really appreciate you all. Thanks for coming in. Can I get an amen? And hugs to you all.